Indie Beacon Radio with host B Alan Bourgeois. Welcome to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. You can send questions for each show on Twitter using the hashtag IndieBeacon. Now sit back and enjoy learning about our guest for this show.
Hi, and welcome to Indie Beacon Radio. This is your host, B Alan Bourgeois, and I have with me Diann Boehm. Diann has written a book, a children's book, but before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about Diann. Welcome, Diann. We appreciate you being here.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. So let's start off with the fact that you travel a great deal. You have a home here in Texas, but you also have a home in the Middle East. So tell us a little bit about how that came about, and I'm sure that'll lead into why you wrote your story.
I'll be happy to. So my husband's an attorney, and I've been an educator, training teachers around various parts of the United States and in other countries as well. He was asked to open up a law firm, Fulbright & Jaworski, in Dubai and Saudi Arabia, which changed everything. And I started pursuing more humanitarian work in Africa and training and writing books and working on getting them published. And now I have 4 books published.
I'm sorry, you have how many books?
4.
4 books. But your latest one is Harry the Camel. So what made you write that one?
Well, I've been living in Dubai for quite a while, and you are around a lot of camels. They're very, very important in their culture. There were already many books written about camels, so I went a different route because I've been working on being published for many years. But I decided it was time to write a book with a camel character to give back to the beauty of the UAE, and also to maybe open the eyes for people to see how gorgeous the UAE is. And a camel was the perfect way to express that beauty, and also to help with the idea of loving one another, which most of my books are about: peace, love, and loving yourself.
Great. So for people who don't know what UAE means, if I remember correctly, it's the United Arab Emirates. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. The aspect of the camel, as you said, is a very critical part of the Middle East. I mean, we've seen it in movies and other things. So give us a little bit more information about that.
Sure. So it's so amazing to live somewhere where you see the camels in their own environment, just walking so gracefully across the desert. You also have the opportunity, anyone who comes to visit, to ride camels. So certainly my family has ridden many, many camels. But also, uniquely, you'll see that Harry, one of the questions kids go, why is Harry's eyelashes so long? And usually it'll be a Western child that will ask that, because the Middle Eastern kids know that A, the camels have long eyelashes, and B, the camels are in beauty contests, and you can win a lot of money at a camel beauty contest, and those are quite fun to see.
Okay, now that was something I had not heard about before. A beauty contest for camels.
Yes.
So what is it? Obviously, as you mentioned, the long eyelashes, but what else are they looking at for the beauty aspect?
Their teeth, the formation, how strong they are, the way their bodies are shaped, the firmness and huskiness of the camel, the strength so that they can last long in the desert, is my understanding. I haven't seen the exact list of everything, but that's what I've been told. And also, even the gracefulness in the way that they chew.
Now, in the cover of your book, it shows 1 hump, but camels actually have 1 hump or 2 humps. Is that correct?
That's correct. A lot of those camels, it's my understanding, are found in Egypt.
Okay, so your 1 camel is more related to the UAE and that region.
Correct.
Okay, so peace and love is the general term. How more can you describe it without giving too much of the story away as to what the story is about?
Well, in this particular one, Harry doesn't like himself. He wants to be a horse. He goes and watches the horse races at a distance and the jockeys riding these horses. Now, of course, he's probably very aware that he can run fast, but he's so intrigued with the smoothness of a horse. And also there's a bird character, Plover, who teases him and calls him Lumpy. So that's a way that I bring in bullying. And in the end, Harry discovers, based on something that happens, that there's nothing better than loving yourself. And he's very proud to be who he is. And that's what I want my readers to take away, to love yourself and know that there are many reasons that you'll be doing great things.
So to that respect, you have the English version, of course, but you also have an Arabic version, which I assume was because you are in that country so much. How difficult was it to write that Arabic version or to have that translated?
Well, I'm very blessed to have an amazing publishing company, OC Publishing, out of Canada. And she has, the owner of the publishing company, has several women that, and men too, but in this particular case, a woman, that can speak Arabic, write Arabic in the way, translate it for children, as well as other languages she is able to do.
So do you plan on doing it in other languages as well, or just mainly the Arabic, because that's another part of the world you spend so much time in?
I hope to have all my books eventually in Spanish. Being from Texas, it's very important. My husband speaks many languages, and I'm just such a strong believer in promoting books in various languages so that all my readers can enjoy them.
Great. Now, this is the first book. Do you plan on doing a series for Harry the Camel or other related people that surround him?
You know, I hadn't, but I've already started getting requests for Harry to have other experiences. So I'm in the process of thinking about that. At the moment, with the Little Girl in the Moon series, where I have 3 books out, I'll be working and already having the process and doing the artwork, because I don't know if you know, I do a lot of the illustrations along with my daughter. In this particular one, it was a friend from Sri Lanka that helped with the illustration, but that's another story. Anyway, so the next book coming out will be the Little Girl in the Moon, along with the Little Boy in the Moon adventures.
Okay, so since you brought them up, let's go ahead and talk about that. We've got a few minutes left of this segment. So you have 3 books in the Little Girl series.
Yeah, so the Little Girl in the Moon lives on the moon, and I'm writing the moonling language. So she's a moonling. So these are the 3 books, and each one has something different. This particular one, the first one, is to love yourself and realize even if someone's a little different, they could actually become your very best friend. And that's where you learn all about the moonlings living on the moon. And then this particular book, I just love this story. It's all about peace, love, and harmony. And the moon, the little girl on the moon is all worried about people on Earth because their wishes are getting lost. But in the end of the story, you discover if there's one moment in time where there's peace and harmony between the moon and Earth, and all the wishes find their way to the stars. It doesn't necessarily mean they come true, but there's just peace and harmony, which on Earth we certainly could use. And then this particular one is where I introduce the character Moxie, Moxie and Shadow, which is with the little boy in the moon, because obviously I have about 30 stories written for them already, is where I introduce, and you can travel around Tycho Town. So Tycho Town is in Tycho Crater, which is a real crater on the moon. And Moxie she gives the tour. And so it starts building this relationship. And my youngest daughter, Catherine, helps me with it. And what's exciting about it is that you start learning the Moonling language, so that in the end, I hope that all the students and readers acquire and start speaking Moonling. So it's very creative.
Okay, so learning the language is great. I mean, it helps them also learn other languages from that aspect. So how are you going to apply that language in future endeavors?
Well, excellent. So one of the things I've done is really go into etymology to help develop the language. And I try to take a basis. Obviously, it's all going to be from the Romantic language, since that's English, French, Spanish, and that's what I'm accustomed to. But I try to pick a place in various parts of the world on Earth so that children around the world can go, oh my goodness, I can recognize that. That's very important to me. And all my books, that the kids, no matter where they live in the world, can see themselves in the story. For them to be able to read is something that it will take a while, but since I taught preschool through 8th grade and kindergarten and 4th grade, specifically kindergarten, on how to read, I'm applying some of the rules of sight words first and developing those words along with some strong nouns and verbs, so that simple sentences will be able to be written in the Moonling language.
What age grade do you feel your books are suited best for?
2.5, so midway through 2nd grade. As far as the reading level, all of the books are written to be ageless, because the messages there, even especially in this book right here, The Little Girl on the Moon, The Big Idea, every adult should take this book in, and I think it can calm them down for ideas and wishes and beliefs. But depending on how you read it and where you are in your learning and experience in life will be how you interpret the book.
Okay. Well, this is a perfect spot for us to take a break and let our sponsors do their thing, and we'll be right back.
Well, hello there, my friends. My name is Randy James, independent voiceover producer in the Dallas, Texas area, available to write and record a 30-second commercial, much like the one you're hearing right now. It's a great way to help increase awareness and exposure to your book title. It's easy to do. Simply call me and we'll brainstorm on a few ideas, and in a few hours, I'll whip something up and send you a digital file ready to use. Remember, call or text me, Randy James, at 214-762-1942.
What would you do if you had to put your life on hold to care for a loved one? I'm Charlotte Kenyon, award-winning author of the book, You Have to Laugh to Keep from Crying, How to Parent Your Parents. That was a question I had to ask myself some 16 years ago, and you'll have to ask the same question. I had a father-in-law with dementia, a mother with Alzheimer's, and a dad with Parkinson, all at the same time.
We Fiction is a fun, fast-paced writing contest for any author team to create a book based on what readers submit for plot, characters, locations, and even plot twists. Learn more about this unique contest at wefiction.dearindy.org. The 5th annual Authors Marketing Event is coming to Granbury, Texas, July 24th through the 27th. Join us and learn from the professionals how to properly market and sell yourself and your books. Go to ame.authorsmarketingguild.com for all the details. That's ame.authorsmarketingguild.com.
Welcome back to Indie Beacon Radio. Don't forget to like us, follow us, or subscribe to one of our many channels. Now, here is your host for today's show.
All right. Welcome back to Indie Beacon Radio. This is your host, B Alan Bourgeois, and I have Diann Floyd Boehm, with us. She's written several books on children's stories, the camels, and things of this nature. In the last episode, last section, you had mentioned you had, if I heard you correctly, 30 stories set up for the Children in the Moon series?
Correct.
How did you come up with how did you come up with so many stories?
Because you'll be taking an adventure, and again, each time, the point is the moonlings love Earth as much as Earthlings love the moon. So the moonlings want to experience various parts of the Earth. So through the adventures, you'll travel and discover the beauty of the Earth. And how that stays connected to my theme is what I'm hoping is that my readers discover that, oh my goodness, there's a waterfall that is incredible in Portugal, and it reminds me of this waterfall where I live. And again, it's uniting people of how much we have in common, so that as they grow into adulthood, they have this sense of humankind loving one another. That's my end goal.
And that's a great goal to have, especially in this time where we seem so divided and stuff. Through the process of what you're doing, you mentioned you're going to The Boys next. How many series, or how many books do you plan on doing for The Boy on the Moon?
Well, actually, that's a great question, number one. Number two, the little girl in the moon and the little boy in the moon, they're going to unite. They're good friends. And they each have a dog for their best friend. And so it's Moxie and Shadow that you will go on these adventures. You kind of have to see to. But you know how in Charlie Brown, if you ever watch anything, if you see the adults, it's wah, 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 wah. So what's actually going to happen is in the Observatora, which is a moonling word, but you can guess what that is, you'll go into these different areas and rooms, and that's where the adventures in space will take place, and it's Moxie and Shadow that'll take you, but it's always the little girl in the moon and her best friend, and both of them will always be together from that point on for the adventures.
So we've been saying little girl in the moon and little boy in the moon. What are their actual names for the stories?
People always ask that, and I'm not giving it a name at this point, because again, it's by giving them a name, it might put you into a certain country or make you feel, oh, well, they must be American, or oh, they must be Egyptian or German or whatever. And I want it to be where every kid can see themselves as that character.
So they get to actually put their own name, whether they create it or use their own, to apply towards the girl or the boy.
Correct.
Great. Now, above you, you have the word Story Garden with your name. What is this? I mean, is this your room where you actually write the stories and you consider it a garden, or is it something else?
It's definitely something else. So back home in Houston, because we live in several places, this particular room has been set up with a lot of my covers to the books that I've painted. And the Story Garden is my new YouTube channel that'll be coming out very shortly. My youngest daughter just finished writing the opening song for it. And over here, what'll happen is not only will I start reading books, and they won't just be my books, because you can see behind me I have several books, and then on the other side are like tons of walls. I've been collecting children's books for years, as well as some that are very, very old from the 1800s. But I'm also going to be interviewing authors and give them an opportunity to read their children's book and interview them and give them an opportunity to connect to the world through my Story Garden.
Wonderful. You said back at home, because you do have two homes. You have one in Houston, you have one in the UAE. Do you have a separate room in each one that looks identical or similar to?
Similar to, but we also have a home in Austin, so eventually we'll go back to our home in Austin. But this is the main room for the Houston area.
And how often will you be doing the show? Is it like a monthly or weekly?
What I hope to do as we start building it is I would, set times and schedule and so forth, but I hope to have at least 1 to 2 authors reading a week. Because what I'm trying to do is I'm still in the schools, so I can be hired to help with creative writing, read to the kids, work out lessons that the principal would like to see happen. By being able to do that, I'm able to get a sense of what's still happening with young kids at home. And one of the things is there's hardly ever any time with both parents working to really have an opportunity to spend reading to the kids, which I think is so important. And so I want to have this time where the parent might be needing to cook supper or answer some more emails, that they know that when they go to Story Garden, it's a safe place and their kids are going to love the safe, quality stories that are being read by various authors as well as myself.
Great. Granted, your education, your teaching and everything, and your books are all related to the children and stuff. Out of curiosity, have you ever thought of writing a different type of book for adults or anything?
Whoa, you're really reading my mind. Actually, yes. So I've been working for over 5 years on a historical fiction for high school and up. And it's based on my grandmother's life. And I just turned it in 3 weeks ago to the publisher for the editor to start going through it. Boy, do I have such an admiration for authors who write historical fiction. I've always enjoyed it, but attempting to write it is a whole new ballgame. But it has been such a great learning experience. So I wish my kids were alive to read it.
Speaking of the learning experience, being a teacher, I'm sure you've learned a few things, but being a historical fiction, are you having to do a lot of research that you didn't realize you would have to do?
Absolutely. So much research, and probably more than I needed to do, but I wanted to, so that I wanted to have a better understanding of what my grandmother's parents were like. Even though I was lucky enough to know my great-grandmother, I still was a kid. And so based on what's happening in the story with Grandma, and I don't want to give too much away yet, is important to understand, I felt, how her...
I'm Rox Berkey.
And I'm Charles Brakefield. We're award-winning co-authors, Brakefield and Berkey, of the Enigma book series. There are 10 books in the series, with book number 11 planned for release in January 2020.
Each story has a central technology focus ranging from identity theft to cryptocurrency and now AI wars. These adult techno thrillers pit cyber good guys against cyber thugs across the darknet.
In our world, technology is today's weapon of choice. You can enjoy ebook format, paper, or Audible. We want your feedback.
Until the next story, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for watching or listening to Indie Beacon Radio. Our sponsor, IndieLector.store, is the only bookstore that pays authors their fair share for book sales. Help authors to succeed and enjoy a great book by supporting them at IndieLector.store. Enjoy a 10% discount with coupon code SHOPPER20 at IndieLector.store. Coupon valid until December 31st, 2020. That's IndieLector.store, coupon code SHOPPER20.
Welcome back to Indie Beacon Radio. Don't forget to like us, follow us, or subscribe to one of our many channels. Now, here is your host for today's show.
All right. And welcome back to Indie Beacon Radio. This is your host, B Alan Bourgeois, and I have Diann Floyd Boehm with me. Diann, in the last section, we were talking about all the different books you have and things you're working on. One thing I wanted to ask in reference to the Girl on the Moon and the Boy on the Moon series, because you do have so many story ideas, how often are you planning on having them come out? Once a year, every other year, what?
If I had it my way, I would like to have 2 to 3 out a year, but obviously the publishing company has other authors they need to work on. But it'll definitely be 1 a year. As far as that title, I'm actually going to be speaking with her tomorrow and see if there's a way that I can have 2 books come out, because I have Harry and I have this, but I also have about 3 other stories already written. And if I can get the artwork completed, then I'm very anxious to get those out.
Yeah, especially with 30 stories, I'm sure you want to get them out, and I understand that. Of course, they're available on Amazon and any of your regular bookstores, sites, and stuff like that. But how can people find out more about you and what you're offering, your social media, website, things like that?
Yeah. So if you go to DiannFloydBoehm.com, Boehm, because we get lots of different pronunciations. So DiannFloydBoehm.com, you can read about the books there. You can even click on the books, and it'll take you straight to various links to purchase. And also, I have a newsletter that comes out, and in the newsletter, that's once a month, but I started a new section called Shine, and this is where I want to engage with the various people that follow me, and it gives them an opportunity to send in their favorite clean joke or a tongue twister or a picture based on a theme that I might have. So like this month coming up, it's your favorite holiday picture. And again, it's connecting people together. And also it gives an opportunity, and it's for young kids as well as adults. I never say the kid's name because we want to protect them, but it gives them an opportunity. If they took a great photo, I want that photo to be published, and they can say that in 2020, I published my very first picture when I was only 8 years old. And I find that empowering. And that's what I want to do. I want to empower young as well as old.
And I do know, in reference to the empowering, you do work in the UAE with a lady who helps children write their stories and gets them published. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And in your newsletter, you also then let people know when you are traveling and where you're going to be and stuff. But you also share, as you mentioned, the children's pictures so that they can see kids from other countries or wherever you happen to be at the moment. And that really does bring in that aspect of uniting and helping people to see the common thread that we all have.
Correct. That I only post someone's picture if the parents have given me permission. But you stated it beautifully, the common thread. We're all humans. We share this world. And I want us to really stop and think about what we do and how we can help one another to be the best we were meant to be.
Yes, and I fully agree with that and understand that. And that's one of the books I'm working on is a little bit for the older crowd, but same concept is to always go after your dreams no matter what the roadblocks may be and stuff. I want to thank you very much for being with us. You have a lot of books available currently, the 5, but with all the other ones that are coming up, there'll be no time that all 30 of those will be published, plus all the other ones you're thinking about and stuff. So you'll be a busy lady in the next few years. But we look forward to seeing you when the next book comes out, whether it be the one for the young adults or for your other children's books. And we thank you very much for being with us and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you for listening to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. To learn more about Indie Beacon services, to be a guest on the show, or to advertise on our show, please visit our website.
Indie Beacon Radio with the host, B Alan Bourgeois. Indie Beacon Radio is produced by B Alan Bourgeois for Authors Marketing Guild LLC, copyright 2020. Voiceover by Randy James, Lydia Bello, and B Alan Bourgeois. To be a sponsor of the show or for more information, please email us at info@authorsmarketingguild.com. To be interviewed for the show, please complete the form at radio.authorsmarketingguild.com. Music Always Rejoice by Ramcord